Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Headspace podcast and our album review for Kanye West, Jesus is King. That's right, this is the second part of our album review for the Kanye West album, Jesus is King, and you can check out part 1 for the full introduction where we break down all of the first part. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And we will be going through the project track by track. We've done the first half, and without further ado, so we can just jump on into it, as we discuss a song that had been previously leaked and then was redone, and it's called Everything We Need. I'm pretty sure it was Kanye West who leaked the original version called The Storm featuring XXXTentacion. So I just wanted to have a little conversation here that isn't related to the song.
All right. I love these.
This is related to the people in the comments who is being like, I just don't understand why they took XXXTentacion's verse off the album. To which I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I may have just demonetized the video with that F word, but I think it was worth the point. There's something about the word fuck and how you're going to beat people down at the party you're at, which is what XXXTentacion's verse kind of starts with. And he swears. And he's a little... is the conversation, is it a good verse or not? Does it add to the track? Actually, yeah. The way that version came out, where the beat flips up and XXXTentacion's verse slaps in, it does something to the track and brings it in a direction, absolutely. And for a lot of people out there, that's the better version of the song.
But so the question is that a better version for the song when it was Yandhi? Or is it a better version for the song now as Jesus is King?
Allow me to be clear. XXXTentacion's verse has no place on this album. If he was still with us, rest in peace and all, and he could have redone the verse and maybe cleaned it up or something, I'm certain Kanye would have kept it. The real.
To be fair, he did XXX did the song with Lil Wayne, and he had a pretty decent.
Wasn't writing.
No. I'm not
album.
Trying to defend that. I'm just saying that it is possible that XXX could make a good verse.
No,
he did it.
The question isn't whether or not XXX's verse was good. Actually, his verse was pretty good for the song "The Storm," which came out and was going to be on Yandhi. However, we're talking about a gospel album with no cussing that is all about, in a sense, praising God. And, that verse about beating people down in a party and being a little rowdy and stuff just didn't work on the... No, but
just extremist side.
No, but even to that end, I don't understand how that makes sense. That's not how it works. There's not have you heard X's verse or?
I'm just trying to make content. I have not even heard the song.
So what I'm trying to say is, if you listen to the verse, it's impossible that it makes sense on this album. They also cut out the lines like "girl," something. There was some line about a girl letting go and having a good time, because originally It kind of felt like that's more what the track was about. But Kanye repurposed it to make sense on Yandhi, or not Yandhi, Jesus is King. So, now we began after the storm inside, later land, it's the morning light. Okay, this part works, it can be on this part, but I guess all I was trying to say on my little side tangent is, when you're making an album, you're supposed to, be focusing on a cohesive album. I understand the single culture and how everyone... But by single, I mean album singles or the individual songs. And how if you're looking at it from the perspective of what's the better version of the song, I can get why you might be a little bit confused. But if you listen to this album and genuinely and sincerely think that XXXTentacion's verse belonged on this project, I think you weren't really paying attention to what Kanye West was trying to do here, or what he's been trying to say. It's just at that point, you don't really get how albums work. Albums aren't supposed to just be a bunch of hot tracks thrown on together. That's a playlist. That's a mixtape.
Right.
This is meant to be a cohesive project. Whether he achieved the goal is not the point, but definitely cutting out the girl sex lines and XXXTentacion's vulgar while good verse makes sense on a freaking gospel album called Jesus is King. Like, let's.
I'm rolling. I'm not
I'm just
arguing
saying,
that.
this is to the people who I read comments of who are sincerely confused. And I do believe a lot of these people might be younger and feeling like, Triple X Temptation was slated in some way. But, like, there's just no way that you can rationally say that verse belongs on this version of this album, Anyway, we get up from Kanye, though. I thought a particularly interesting set of lyrics here with switch your attitude, go ahead, level up yourself, this that different latitude, some ooze, life too short, go spoil yourself, feel that feel, enjoy yourself, cause we have everything we need. So originally I think that was supposed to be at a woman, but it actually still kind of works as like talking to yourself or kind of talking to people in general,
Right.
about how you can flip up your attitude and just kind of appreciate God in a sense, And through that spirituality, we have everything we need. And it just repeats it. And Aunt Clemons and Dollar Sign Ein happen to respond. And I know I'm not the only one to make that joke, but I'm in the right age group that's entering dad joke life. That's right. I'm a dad joker in training. But like, I don't know. It just flowed nice, and it was really pretty to listen to, and it was really flowing well.
I feel like the first verse kind of has this context of materialism a little bit, like just in a sort of like go out, have fun, party, spend your life, spend your money, do your life. But it's in a way of like, I feel contextualizing two parts, because when we go into the second verse, and I apologize if I'm like really fucking up the way we do the songs, but when we go into the second verse,
there's not much to say, and we began after the storm inside, lay of the land, it's just the morning light.
Well, it's because even with
that just kind of feels like shit's fucked up, but if you can stop and smell the roses and appreciate the amazing things around you, it's pretty cool. It's kind of what I took from that.
Right, because where I get confused is on the second verse when Kanye goes, "What if Eve made apple juice? Let's
just start with switch my attitude."
Right.
That's fine. I'm so radical, but that's an interesting point, because as he switches his attitude into a new direction, whether it's Christian, whether it's Dragon Energy, or whatever it may be this week, it always comes out kind of radical. And all these people end up mad at dude. This for who it mattered to. So I think what he's saying is, no matter what I do, it's going to make people a little bit unhappy. So this is going to be dedicated to, the following lines are dedicated to whoever it's relevant. Right. So what if Eve made apple juice? That's implying in the Garden of Eden, Eve took what's believed to be the apple, representing temptation, and then she tempts Adam with it. So you going to do what Adam do? And so the question is, when you're faced in your moment of temptation, are you going to be like Adam and give into that temptation, therefore condemning humanity to a life of fucking awful? Basically, Adam fucked everything up. And I enjoy that sentence because my brother's name is Adam. Or baby, let's put this back on the tree, cuz. And then we go back in to the chorus. So if you think about what he's saying here, it's when you're faced with your own personal temptation, you have the opportunity to be like Adam and be weak and give in. Or you can be like, nah, baby, take a look at the amazing Garden of Eden we have, the paradise, the perfection. Do we really need to take from the tree of forbidden knowledge? Do we really need to eat that forbidden fruit? Or can we just go enjoy what's around us, all this amazingness? We have everything.
I feel like part of it also has this, even because with that line, it feels like there's this, we don't need much more than just me and you. Fair. Like in that let's call it relationship, call it connection type vibe. It's like we try to look for more, I guess, validation or things to prove that we are who we are, and this is why I love you, or I want this or whatever. But in reality, it's kind of just fairly simple in the sense of we just need each other, maybe as like people, maybe just as working together. Also, this could also be kind of connected, like your connection with God or Jesus or however. Like you just need you and your religious belief to keep you going and not have to stray down these paths.
Yeah, also I think it's just recognizing that if you have the faith in the higher powers and God, you'll be taken care of, and that even if things look a certain way, you're gonna be all right. Like, we have the tools, we have the resources, and we have God on our side to help us get through the different situations that create the storms inside, etc. Another thing I wanted to comment on is how the mixing on this version is drastically different than the storm. XXXTentacion's verse was like ridiculously gritty, and so Kanye's verse came off really gritty too, and it sounded better to me also. But that version doesn't fit as well on this sound that is going and make sense on this project. Like, hearing this album, everything made sense. Hearing the Triple X version, I felt like, you know what, Kanye's voice is grittier, and it would have been kind of nice. And I wondered if, like, the grittiness would have made more sense here, but I think it would have thrown off the flow of the album at the cost of the individual song. And I think if you're trying to make a good album, you should always do what's best for the album, not the individual song. I gave it a 4.35. I thought it was nice. It's alright.
I as well gave it a 4.3. I enjoyed the song overall.
Anyway, the next track is called the Hydrogen Monoxide. That's H2O. That's water. So Clemons joins Kanye here, adding some beautiful singing. I'm not gonna lie. This track is so not in a genre of music I would ever really find myself listening to. But I also found this track extremely really beautiful to listen to, nice to vibe to, and it had me feeling back like a good energy sonically. Kanye's little intro is fine. He just like, well right, so high as the sun come out, planning, booting, planning, moving, planning, tubing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't know. I'm done. It was nice. It just sounded good as he said it.
It kind of seems like it's the whole water reference, right? Tubing, tubes, water going through tubes, planning, maps, and sewage systems.
Sure.
Like I
mean, you're probably right. I'm just saying. It didn't invigorate an interest in me.
Absolutely. I liked in the chorus when Aunt Clemons went take the chlorine out of the conversation. Like, it really kind of stuck with me because, from what I understand, chlorine is supposed to keep a pool clean. So you'd want chlorine there to filter out the bacteria and the, what I guess let's call it negativity or whatever. But then, in a sense, the way that they're kind of using it is that even though you're using this product, this smoke screen, this mask to, I guess, filter whatever it is you're saying, whatever it is you believe or whatnot, that in itself is also infecting the purity of what it is you're supposed to feel, believe, or whatever, which was something that was really cool to me. I don't know if you have any.
Well, I mean, I look at it like clean us like the rain in spring. So the rain in spring sounds like a natural thing, like, you know, let the rain come down and use the natural water to come in. Chlorine is used to cleanse, right, and to disinfect and to remove impurities. Could be another way to look at it, right? So if you look at the line, it's take the chlorine out of the conversation. I don't know why, but chlorine just makes me think of bleach, and it also feels like maybe there's a subtlety on the whitewashing nature of life. Like, let's be a little more natural and organic with it, and let's be imperfect, let's be fucked up. That's why I keep the show like it is, with all the fucked up parts not edited out. Also, I'm lazy. I'm really fucking lazy. I'm not watching the whole thing to cut out every cough. But like, I like that natural side. I prefer watching content creators who don't overly sanitize their content to make it sound stupidly clean
Polished.
and perfect. Like, the more perfect in 7 minutes you are, the less likely I am to watch it. I want the I want the little nuances. That's why I like podcasts so much more than, say, a video essay on the subject. Because while the podcast may take longer, I feel like it's just a more enjoyable form of content in the sense of humanly approaching subjects as like less pretentious or something. So I took it kind of like that, like, let it be cleaner, but not by sanitizing it. Let it be clean in a more pure sense, like the rain in spring, you know? Let your light reflect on me. I promise I'm not hiding anything. So with that, because my soul is pure and shit, I can handle that because I don't need to censor myself in that way or to be so like that because I have nothing to hide. It's water. We're water. Pure as water, like a newborn daughter. I'm like, okay, Kanye. Like, I mean, I love the water part, like a newborn daughter. I can't relate to that. I don't have offspring, but I imagine that when you look at your newborn daughter, she probably looks really pure. Shrug. 31, no kids. Yes, they ask me if I'm having kids soon all the time, but no, it's not my choice. I would love to, though. You can tell her if you watch this and you know her, tell her. I'm okay with that. Anyway, that was a weird tangent. The storm may come, but we'll get through it because of your love. Either way, we crash like water. And it's just nice to me. And the way that he sings it is really, really nice. And it flows. And it has this like ethereal, overwhelming sound to it where it feels hopeful. It feels like you're taking a shower of your soul as you're listening to this song.
I feel that.
And then I love Kanye's second verse with the Jesus flow through us. Jesus heal the bruises. Jesus clean the music. Jesus please use us.
That was a little overdone for me, I feel.
But that's what he did with this album. He cleaned the music.
Right.
And he used Jesus and whatever. And I just thought it was nice, right? Like, to me, this is one of my favorite parts. Because you don't have to, like, I could see how it looks lazy, but I think it also sounds like church hymns.
I don't think it sounds lazy. I do understand and kind of respect, and I do agree. It's like, for me, this is Kanye standing at the podium, kind of talking out to the people at the church ceremony right now, and it's just like, this is what Jesus does, and I
no,
appreciate
it's not. This is what Jesus. It's
it's
a prayer
directly
to Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So it's Jesus flow through us. Jesus heal the bruises. Jesus clean the music. Like, Jesus, through your power, give us these things.
Right.
Please help. Please heal. Please forgive. Please reveal like the truth and teach us. Give us strength. Make us well. Help us live. It sounds like I'm at church, but it also sounds fly as fuck and not like the dreary death sermons I had to listen to.
Right.
And like, I'm thinking to myself, man, I would bob to this. And I'm praising God right now on this podcast. Jesus is our rock. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. That Kanye, and weirdly enough, gave us. Like, honestly, I always like Jesus walks. I always like the end part where he's like, and if this takes away from my spins, it'll probably take away from my ends, but maybe it'll take away from my sins and bring us closer to the point where the next time you in the club, everybody's screaming out. And then, like, you kind of never went back there, you know?
Right.
And, well, now he did. I don't know if he really went back there. I didn't listen to a lot of his catalog. Still, this is, I thought, really cool from the perspective of the part of me that is just like, yeah, I'm into praising Jesus. That's cool. So I'm like, it's nice. It felt like a lot of shit I would say at church just rocked out in a really beautiful thing. And then I also kind of like the metaphor for water. It's all right. It's an interesting idea, cleanliness and free flowing and letting his spirit and stuff move through it. I just thought it was nicer. It was on the end of the album I would want to listen to again. So water gets a 4.5 from me.
Water got a 4 for me.
Don't like it?
I mean, it's nice, but it's one of the songs I was kind of like, I could do without, to be honest.
Fair enough. What do you feel about the next track, God Is? Well, we'll find out soon. Keep watching. So there's a whole bunch of vocals used in the beat of this. Like, it's a lot of, it's Labyrinth's voice, the producer, and like, I think my favorite part of the use of the voice is when he takes the woo at the end and it just kind of melodically uses it. Like, you can picture how he took the woo sample, opened up the keyboard part of the fucking Pro Tools or whatever,
right.
and just was like modifying it like that, like it's part of it. And I kind of have come to really appreciate how voices can be used in beats really nicely, because sometimes I don't like it, but this time I liked it.
Nice.
What do you think about this track?
I thought this track was cool. It was different, a little bit slower, kind of has this more of like realization in a sense. Like, he's just coming to accept what God is, I feel. Like, that's how I'm taking the song. And he's just kind of praising God. So first off, kind of get the intro. God is my light in darkness. Oh God, God is. He is my all, and I'll never turn back. God is. And just even with that intro, you're like, okay, we're about to get more preachy. We're about to get more like, this is what I believe. This is my belief, which is cool. Goes right into the verse, and this is this whole song is one like full verse and then an outro, so it's kind of like really quick. But he goes off with everything that I felt, praise the Lord. Worship Christ with the best of your portions. I know I won't forget all he's done. He's the strength in the race that I run. And right off there, I'm kind of like, you already see Kanye's like, thank you for, being around and helping me get successful where I am today. All the things I felt are because of you, and you were teaching me, you were showing me the ways, which is still kind of the same type of message I guess I've been getting from the rest of the album so far. So it is very consistent. And I don't know. I don't have really much to say because I don't actually understand a lot of the references, but it does just sound like he's just preaching his belief.
Fair enough. I think it's almost like accepting the mission that God has given to him. I mean, if you look at it from a more evangelical point of view, our purpose in God, after we receive the blessing and the light and the understanding, is to go forth and teach the masses by living by example and preaching a little bit. I know it comes off preachy, but I don't really hate that idea. Something that I feel is lacking in our society, or at least Montreal, or at least what I'm experiencing as a human, is that like people in their 30s don't like the idea of being role models in any significant or meaningful way. So there's this like absence of grown men, in my opinion, like people who want to like make adulting cool like it used to be. Not that it was ever cool, but it seems like it's not cool to be an adult now, which is whack. Because I'm 31 and I'm going through 31 things like sleep is important and other such things that we won't talk about.
I feel like that's a whole like shift. Like growing up, I always wanted to be an adult because it looked cool. It looked like you had responsibilities.
But like now it's not. Now everyone wants to be forever young.
Right, and I think that's like a phase you start to go through as you get older, right?
But it used to end. And what I'm
saying
is...
That's what I'm getting to, is that it just... Now it seems like we're pushing this idea of it not ending.
I mean, I guess that's just what I see, at least. And I see it in the 30s, which is whack. That's why it's whack, because these are the people who probably shouldn't be at the clubs on the weekend every time, and a lot of other things where I'm like, yo, get your stack on, because soon y'all gonna be in your 40s, and it's gonna be complicated, and... You should be taking your 30s, is all I'm saying, to do all the things you failed to do in your 20s, because the 40s is going to suck if you don't. That's just some good advice. You can choose to ignore me all you want. But what I'm hearing from Kanye in this song is in the same vein of, like, he's like, I recognize I'm a role model, and I have to do this for God. And I guess it kind of hit me in that regard, where I feel what Kanye is trying to do or communicate with this song is that God has inspired him to be more and greater in his vessel to create real change and meaningful things and to embrace almost being an adult, we'll say, and to do things more responsibly. So I thought it's cool that Kanye was willing to like take that action in his 40s. And I kind of wish and hope that more people embrace adulthood like it's cool. Like let's be real, being 16 was trash. Like it wasn't actually as fun as being 31. A couple of y'all, 16 was probably really dope, but if you were actually doing the same kind of stuff, like really living up 31, it's just way better than 16 is all I'm trying to say. But you look at the part and it just shows this appreciation to God and how miraculous he is, and he has all this love for him, and then he flows it into, I know Christ is the fountain that filled my cup, I know God is alive, yeah, he opened up my vision, giving me a revelation, this ain't about a damn religion, Jesus brought a revolution. And I like that because in a sense, any way of life that usurps the previous way of life could be construed as a revolution. So with the way Christianity imposes this, I guess, in theory, community-centric view of building each other up and loving their neighbor, it's like a revolution of consciousness and mind. And it's something that when it hits you will be like a personal revolution. Whereas the religion is complicated and political, the faith is fascinating to me. And then to take from that point, all the captives are forgiven, time to break down all the prisons. So this, I think, is a double entendre to the efforts of Kim Kardashian trying to free prisoners wrongly incarcerated, but also the prisons that held your soul in place and busting it out with the spirit and power of Christ and whatnot. So that gives you freedom from addiction to the temptations of your life. Addiction is more than just drugs. Everything is kind of designed to be addictive these days. Even exercises and stuff. Like, Soul Cycle looks freaking addictive from an outsider perspective.
Soul Cycle?
It's some spinning class where people guide you on journeys as you cycle, and I don't really understand it. It's not really targeted at guys like us.
Right.
Anyway, I like when he goes, this is a mission, not a show. This is my eternal soul. This my kids, this my crib, this my wife, this my life, this my God-given right. Thank you, Jesus, wanted to fight. And it shows that, like, y'all might look at it like it's just Kanye being Kanye, but no, this, to me, is like Kanye really actively pursuing this lifestyle and trying to be like, this is real, I'm doing this for real, it's not fake. But I liked it a lot. I give it a 4.5. I thought it was really well done. I like how on Genius people are like, man, Kanye's voice is fucked up, and you totally feel it. Like, you know, like he needs to clear his throat a little bit. And yeah, 4.5 on 5.
I gave the song a 4.2. I think it's a good song overall. I'm really enjoying the experience that we're getting, and it's like it just takes you on like different levels on throughout the track. So I enjoyed it.
All right, I guess we could move on then to the next track on the album called Hands On. All right, Chris, how do you feel about this one?
This one was a really cool song. From what I understand, the concept of Hands On is like this idea of praying for somebody. And Kanye kind of does a really nice job of giving you this idea that you should be praying, I guess, for him, or at least the character in the song. So we start off with Fred Hammond on the refrain.
Hammond. Pretty sure it's Hammond.
Hammond. I apologize if I messed that up. Hands up high, hands on, hands up, in your face, the reason, hands on, yeah, hands on. And so that, for me, if that's what it means to pray for somebody, kind of really sounds like they're just trying to give somebody hope. And like, just be like, you know, you should support somebody, you should be there when they're in the time of need. Reason why I say this is because Kanye kind of starts the first verse with cut out all the lights, he the light, got pulled over, see the brights, what you doing on the street at night, wonder if they gonna read you your rights. Right there and then, it's already painting this picture. Like, to me that sounds like because he's black, he's being stopped and he's not allowed to be in his location. And already you get this sense like, you know, maybe something tragic could happen, maybe something bad could happen, we should pray for him, you know, we should be looking out. Then I like when he goes 13th Amendment, 3 strikes, made a left when I should have made a right, told God last time on life. For me, that kind of feels like, again, with the 13th Amendment, I feel like he's bringing up that slavery discussion. He's kind of like, why do, like, you're gonna put me, for me it sounds like he's talking about putting them in prison and dealing with that. And he's on his 3rd strike, so maybe not him, Kanye himself, but like the person that we're speaking about is on their 3rd strike, on their way to go there, made the wrong choice. Go on.
I just think he's commenting on, I think it's like a double entendre to how the police play the situation and put people in jail, but also the severity of like his life. Like, this is kind of where he was at. Mm-hmm. He was at that moment where, in theory, his soul was being locked up, we'll say. But yeah, it's actually really well done. I like it.
I like moving forward. He goes, told the devil that I'm going on a strike. Told the devil when I see him on sight. I've been working for you my whole life. Told the devil that I'm going on strike. I've been working for you my whole life. And that was pretty cool there, how he's like kind of taking back his power that has been stripped from him in terms of like the devil, which also kind of goes with the story of Job, right? Like, as the devil's like fucking up with his life, it's kind of like connected that way, how he's been working for the devil and now he's like, nah, I now believe in God. I've stripped you from me.
But it's also like acknowledging the type of person he's been in the past and the type of messages he would have put out and the type of things that are going on. Like, my buddy knows some chick who he cheated on Kim with, you know? Like, That's all I'm trying to say is, like, I think it's just like a very confessional piece where he's kind of reflecting who he is versus where he's at now and showing that, like, you know, when he follows up, like, nothing worse than a hypocrite. Change, he ain't really different. He ain't even try to get permission, ask for advice, and they dissed him. You know, like, so then he's at this transitional point. He's kind of now looking at the responses people are giving to him. Like, people don't really believe Kanye is a Christian. And still, I've seen people make fun of it all over Facebook. Like, it's just some joke. Like, nobody's actually taking him serious.
But, like, I don't know. I think that's like a self thing. Like, sometimes it's hard to take him seriously when he does kind of act X, Y, Z, A, B, C.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's like targeted at everyone. I think it's like he says, I'm going to do a gospel album. What have you been hearing from the Christians? They'll be the first ones to judge me, make it feel like nobody loved me. They'll be the first ones to judge me. And that's fair. That's some fair ass criticism about Christians, because Christians can be some self-righteous people where like they act like it's a club, and if you misrepresent the club in some way, it's a problem. And these Christians tend to be extremely exclusionary. And we're not talking Western Baptist Church or whatever. We're talking about like regular, good-hearted people who believe they're doing God's work. Because there's some lines in the Bible about how you can excommunicate people if they live in sin. And there's all sorts of little weird, nuanced rules that churches use to politicize its membership, where it turns into follow this club or that club. But mainly, Christians are going, yo, Kanye West wants to come on our albums? Because, yo, basically, this would mean that Kanye West owns the Christian music charts, in theory, right? If he's writing a Christian gospel album. And if you don't think there's a whole lot of dark politics in Christian media and Christian artistry and Christian record labels, like, yes, they may all be Christians, but they're also still a bunch of corporate capitalists. And that's kind of who's doing all of the moves and stuff. And I just find that if the Christian community isn't a fan of your actions, it's cult-like and it can attack you. And this isn't a reflection of all Christians. In fact, these would be a lot of the hypocrites, the types of people who should be open-armed and saying, Kanye, come join us. We're so happy that you found God. They're turning on him, and they're like ridiculing him almost to create propaganda, almost to convince everyone Kanye's fake, rather than indulge the idea that Kanye could have really reformed his life for God. And in my anecdotal experience, Christians have been like that to me in many ways. Not every one of them, but the ones that want to look cool at church often are. Not the regular ones, the ones who want to look cool at church in a social media era. And again, it sounds like it's stupid, but social politics is social politics, and in every social organization, politics is a real part of it. And even good-hearted religious people, the nice ones, can still be savage, because their kids ain't playing with yours if you all cussing and shit. It's just facts.
Fair enough.
And it flows on throughout the rest of this track, and I feel like he's trying to lay it down, like, I'm not trying to do anything here, but it seems like you want to make a gospel album praising God. Christians are going to come at you. And then I love when he goes, I'm not trying to lead you to visas. I'm just trying to, but if I try to lead you to Jesus, we get called halfway believers. Only halfway read Ephesians. So that's an interesting line, because Ephesians is like half theory, half how to do it in real life. And he's saying that the people calling us halfway believers are not actually out there acting in a way where they're doing the spreading of the message. So he's playing up on the fact that he's actually read this shit and knows what he's talking about a little bit, all right, and is acting in the way he's supposed to. And he's being ridiculed by people who walk the walk but don't really talk the talk, I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. And then there was Fred Hammond's little chorus comes in, and there's the second verse where it almost feels like he's taking a meta approach. I deserve all the criticism you got. That's an interestingly worded sentence, right? Right. So it's almost like,
but hold on,
you as in God are getting all of this criticism and made fun of because, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting.
Well, here's the thing, right? I deserve all the criticism you got. If that's all the love that you have, that's all you got. So we can look at it both ways. I think he's actually talking to people like, yo, if you're hating on what I'm doing, go ahead and hate. It's kind of like all publicity is good publicity, whether it's bad or good, right? So he's flipping that and saying, if you're hating on me for believing in God, then go ahead and do it, because that's the only type of love you're showing me regardless. You're still paying attention, you're still following, you're still commenting, clicking on my shit. It all kind of ties in together with that, which is what I thought that line was cool.
And then to sing a change, you think I'm joking. To praise his name, you ask what I'm smoking. Yes, I understand your reluctancy. Yeah, but I have a request, you see. Don't throw me up. Lay your hands on me. Please pray for me. Hold myself on death. Hold it down. All falling down. Somebody pray for me. And I like that a bit because it kind of, again, touches on the fact that people don't believe Kanye wants to change. People don't believe that people are going to believe this is a marketing gimmick, because part of it probably is.
I kind of believe. At first, I thought it was, and I'm gonna just say, like, you know what? Maybe if he is really into this, then I still kind of I believe him. Like, hi, hello, the album and everything. But I'm sorry, this as we're going through this, it kind of sounds like he wants people to accept that he's changing. He wants people to kind of forgive him for what he's said, done, acted, or whatever.
I think he wants people to believe him when he says he's changing.
Which, okay, so even with that, it's like one album ain't gonna do shit.
I mean,
like one Sunday service ain't gonna do shit.
Just one. It's a year straight.
I mean,
you're acting like it's. I mean, I don't know. What's the threshold? What you get to?
Somebody said it. I think it was somebody said it, and it was on the Joe Budden podcast, and that's where I remember from. They were saying if you're super cool, like if you're really really cool, and you fuck up, it takes you at least like 3 years to get out of like to become cool again. So, and I'm not saying that's like an accurate. I'm not saying that's an accurate timeline, but I'm saying there is a threshold of time that you're like, all right, we kind of now rock with you again. Like we kind of think that you're
who's the we? Joe Budden is
no. I'm not saying Joe Budden. I'm saying like I'm taking that example.
So I'm taking like that podcast is a bunch of guys pandering to middle class white kids plus the hood. Like they're pandering to a lot of people at once, and maybe they all believe that. And maybe historically speaking, a whole bunch of stuff is true about it. But then if you're that person. And this is the problem where the tables turn.
Right.
Where you can quote the facts of how business and show business works, but on the other side, what Kanye is expressing is how complicated it is to change. Because what happens when you try to change? Nobody believes you. Everyone comes at you. And everyone's so quick to be like, yeah, why should we believe you in those moments? But then when it's their time to change, everyone's now got to accept that they've been at it for like this period of time. And it's all insignificant based on that. Mm-hmm. So what? Everyone needs to go 3-4 years before anyone's gonna believe them?
I don't.
But see, that's what I'm trying to say. It's whack. Yeah. When you put it like that, I think that is whack. Now listen.
But then,
I understand. I understand why people feel the way they feel about Kanye. Even Kanye says he understands that. But for like a year, he got off Twitter. His last tweets before this one were like January 1st. He's been living in a way where he's been focused. He's been making all this music and stuff. And he hasn't been acting a fool for like, I don't know, 10 months, 11 months. Is that a crazy amount of time? No. But if dude has gone almost a year without acting a fool, except to say he's praising God and he's trying to change his life, trying to be better, telling people not to have premarital sex while recording an album and stuff, like, to me, it looks like guys walking the walk. And why am I going to doubt him? Like, why would I bother to waste my time questioning it?
I'm not arguing that. That makes a lot of sense. I'm just a little bit skeptic. Yeah?
Skeptical.
What if after this he goes back to, I'm king shit? Like, that's what I think it is.
Here's the thing.
It's like if
Kanye West is bipolar, then he will do that. And are we supposed to hate him or are we supposed to love him and help him? What are we supposed to do in those moments? Are we supposed to Britney Spears shit and torch the motherfucker down?
No, that's a completely different conversation.
Is it? It's the same conversation.
I love you for your music and what you create. But if you're really out here, I need help, I'm sorry, please support me, go get help.
He tried to. He did. He's found this. To me, this sounds like Kanye West getting help.
Okay.
So if he fucks up in the future, it's too late. Get the fuck out. Is that what it is?
No.
I mean, I'll take DMX back every time, no matter what.
I mean, yes. I'm not saying we're not gonna take them back.
What I'm saying is, who the fuck are we, the people not living these celebrity lives, to fucking even have an opinion? Alright? Like, who the fuck are we? Okay? With our fucking little... You don't know shit about Kanye West's life. I don't know shit about Kanye West's life. We don't know anything. Alright? Yeah, all of us as experts talking all that shit. Now, I'm saying this from a position where I don't think on this review I crossed the line where I'm talking about myself one time.
No, of course.
I've tried to relate to Kanye West through my experiences and try to understand his experiences. Now, I'm understanding where he's coming from on this song. When you go through the process of changing, right? It's complicated, and most people don't believe you. And then you have to point out, how long has it been since I said something like this? How long has it been? And then, 6 months in, actually, would be a more realistic expectation in my anecdotal experiences of people believing that your habit has changed. Scientifically, it takes 3 weeks to form a habit. So, what are we expecting from Kanye? What are we actually expecting from the dude? I want him to just be Kanye and to maybe learn and be a little more aware. Maybe not just speak everything that comes to his mind in every interview. That might be smart. But what about the other side? What about TMZ trying to trap him? What about people trolling him? What about all the other parts? What's the other end of the accountability on this spectrum? Is it just what it is? That's what it's life? Oh, if you happen to do something incredible that people love and the people make you a celebrity, you are now accountable to what? Forever? Nah, man. The people suck is what I'm hearing. I don't know. I'm looking around and just the dissing of Kanye. Like, it's one thing to say this album doesn't sound good. It's another thing to question a man's life choices as he's trying to reform. Because if you listen to this album, honestly, up until this point, it sounds like a man trying to turn his life around and reform. More than anything else.
I agree.
And he's happy to use Jesus and God as his vessel to find himself kind of what religion's supposed to be in the non-evil version of it.
Well, and that's what I think. So for me, up until this point, it was Kanye's doing his thing. He's doing what he does. Now that we have an actual album for me alone, Chris Chrome, I'm kind of just now I'm hearing you. I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm following. I'm reading. I'm not just putting it on YouTube and watching you dance around with a mic.
He wasn't ever doing that, in my opinion.
Being very hyperbolic for...
No, but I'm saying I've been listening to Kanye for a while, and I feel like he's been crying out like this on every album. It's just this time he did it with Jesus and didn't swear, and it sounds to me a little more sincere. But when I listened to Ye, I heard a guy I have some mental issues and I don't understand.
I heard that too.
I'm trying. That's what I heard him say there.
I actually got that more from Kids See Ghosts. The whole
both of those albums, right?
Ye felt more serious, I want to say. More of just a serious tone. I actually have issues. This is what's going on. Kids See Ghosts kind of felt more of the creative side of being split personality, bipolar, seeing things, hearing things, and dealing with whatever goes on in his head, which is what I think I relate to more, is just the creative aspect of that. But both of them, they kind of overlap and have the same thing. But I just want to say, I don't actually have much to say about this track. I gave this song a 4.3. I really did enjoy it. I do like this sense of believing in prayers and believing that, we should pray for one another. We should be supportive. And for me, a prayer is just being supportive. It's not I don't really think that if you pray for somebody, it's going to completely change their life, but it's this belief in faith and this belief that I am taking 2 minutes out of my life to think of somebody else, which could be a good or bad thing. However it goes, generally it's a good thing. It makes you feel better. It makes your actions a little bit more genuine. That's kind of what I'm getting from this.
I guess. I think I don't get the vibe of praying for him. It's at the end. I think what he's trying to say is, instead of criticizing me, if you really feel that way, pray for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I also look at praying as just full-on support.
But it's not what praying is. Praying is literally asking God for help.
So asking for support.
Not necessarily. But it's not necessarily.
So if I'm asking you to pray for me in my time of need, I'm kind of just saying give me support. I'm not saying you have to be yo, Chris, I got you, it's good.
Well, what you're saying
the aspect of praying
ask
is
God to fix the situation would be a more apt translation.
Ask God for help in my situation. Ask God for support, for aid, for assistance. However you want to look at it, it's super simple.
But there's more than that.
I know there's more than that. There's more than that.
A way people co-opted it with their thoughts and prayers bullshit, because that's bullshit. That isn't good. prayer to me is like this active conversation with God, and however it forms, and it's supposed to be an opportunity to primarily you're supposed to thank Him before anything else. So your prayer should start off with appreciation for what you have, and then migrate into your concerns and whatnot. So I get what Kanye is trying to do. I think Kanye is trying to like a little bit take shots at people and say your attitude is scummy. Here's a better attitude to employ, and then not like actually that like commenting on the power of prayer or whatever. It's a long complicated thing, but I don't know. I think he's trying to say what do you the person judging me actually trying to do? What is your end goal? Like, do you want him to die? Is that what people want? Do people want Kanye to go fucking nuts and become an entertainment scandal story? Like, it almost feels more like everyone just wants Kanye to shut up and go away and never have a chance to do anything again. Like, that just seems what people want, instead of like wanting him to improve and become better, which, I don't know, it must be kind of taxing. Anyway, I like the track. I don't remember what I gave it. What did I give it? I gave it a 4.35. I like the confessional tone of the song. Anyway.
I gave it a 4.2.
Next up, we have the Clipse. That's right, Clipse, Pusha T, and No Malice on the next track, featuring a special guest, and it's called Use This Gospel. So, Kanye West, main flex that I saw prior to this album coming out is simply that he got Clipse back together on a track, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because No Malice, the other member of Clipse that's not Pusha T, is a Christian rapper, and I heard one of his tapes when it came out a couple years ago, and we didn't review it because we chose to do something where that might get more views, and I'm thinking I might really want to visit No Malice's music in the near future, because it is interesting to see somebody who raps and sounds like that, but it's all about God, right? To me, it's profound. But they haven't worked together in a while, and it kind of makes sense. Pusha T is out there kind of pushing his ex-drug dealer bars and stuff, which is, again, really incredible, but it's not necessarily on brand with No Malice. Pusha T actually said about this track he wasn't going to rap on it, and he wasn't really sure how to write a verse about God in any way, how to even like write a clean enough verse to be on the track. And then No Malice wrote the verse for him. So that's from Pusha T's verse. I guess if your literal brother writes your verse, it's okay. And in a moment like this, I don't know. But that's Pusha T saying No Malice basically offered to write the track for him, throwing it out there. I don't care. It's amazing. The OOOs are beautiful at the beginning of this song. The way Kanye comes in with Use This Gospel for protection. It's a hard road to heaven. We call on your blessings. In the Father we put your faith. It's just powerful. It's like, take this album, listen to what we're saying. It's about how complicated and hard it is to get your soul back on being right, to move towards it. And I kind of really agree with the sentiments of what he's putting forward. It's taken me years to, I call it reformatting my personality into something more kind. And then it kind of points out that we call out on blessings, asking God through our faith to get to the kingdom of heaven, to get our demons trembling, to get those holy angels defending. And Father, we put our faith. And in theory, Christianity, based on the doctrine of the Bible, is supposed to be a faith-based, active thing. It's supposed to be pulling on God for strength as you go out there and do better in the world. The passive way that a lot of Christian communities segregate themselves is not really from the same book I read, meaning the Bible. Anyway, then Pusha T slams in with his verse. How could he not be the greatest? In my bed under covers when undercovers are rated. So he got protected through a bad situation. My presence is happy belated, which is cause almost like presents and then birthday. And my birthday's coming up, just throwing it out there. Fashionably late, I'm just glad that you made it. The best is yet to come, I'm just glad that you waited. They all say the real till it's time to appraise it. Kind of sounds on point of that. It almost sounds like he's finally coming to see this bigger epiphany and this realization in light of, he's real and he's seen a lot of fake. That's going to take in. I've seen them come and go. You only did the latest, but who am I to judge? I'm crooked as Vegas. So he's pointing out how, in his opinion, he might see a thing, but reflecting, it's almost sinful to cast judgment when you are coming from a place that's so dark and crooked, which makes sense because Kanye, he almost represents the dark and crooked, realizing there's stuff that could be better, you know? In an album where Kanye's already got on that journey, Kanye drops his thing, and then No Malice comes in, and I think he steals the fucking show on this song right here with a lot of damage shows. I done damage those. That's powerful because he's saying, through my actions, through the messages I was preaching, there are people who made bad choices and got hurt. Like, there are people who really bragged about doing some criminal shit to their music, right? And this weighed on them. That meant that people almost turned them into the anthem of pain and bad things. And this is from No Malice's perspective of stuff I've read. And so he's owning his actions here, and I found that very admirable. And in my arrogance, I took a camera pose, so he modeled up. He looked fly and flossy while doing all this, you know? Caught with a trunk of Barry Manilow's, they sing a different tune when the slammer close. So, you know, when you do deal with prison, and you do deal with real situations, everyone's gangster facade seems to fade a little bit. And then came some of my favorite bars on the entire fucking album. From the Concrete Guru Rose, they give you the Wraith talk, I give you the faith talk. Blindfolded on this road, watch me faith walk. Just hold on to your brother when his faith lost. So, you know, from the Concrete Guru Rose, from the darks of all days, whatever, my soul grew this beautiful thing. They give you Wraith talk, commenting on, like, you know, the mainstream and a lot of the stuff, even what Pusha T would be going on about, you know? He gives you the faith talk, even though he can't see his forward. He has the faith in God that got him on the road, so he shows you the faith walk. And I thought that was pretty dope. And then, considering who his brother is, just hold on to your brother when his faith lost. Like, on top of that, you can't give up on your brother. You can't just be different things. You gotta guide him and be there. And then something strange happens that I don't think a human on this planet was actually expecting. Kenny G, like, #1 hit maker of 1987, Kenny G, the dude our parents fucked to, Kenny G shows up and does a little solo of, like, the chorus tune. And first of all, Kenny G is quite talented.
Yes.
Second of all, how the fuck did y'all fuck to that? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you've heard it. It's not what we know as elevator music.
I mean, I'd fuck to elevator music.
I would not. I find it boring. I feel like Kenny G's solo is very Kenny G, I guess.
Catch me late after a party or something. Yeah, I could do it.
I couldn't.
Yeah, I could do it.
I'm not in it.
I'm not a little faded. It. It's like 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning.
My whole point is Kenny G is the most surprising feature of this album. He does his thing. He plays his saxophone quite well, and it really, I'm not a sax guy. That's where I'm left.
I'm sorry, I'm still on the elevator music sax.
I mean, I'd fuck in the elevator.
With elevator music?
I don't know. I'd put on some dancehall.
Hold on. Let me just put on my iPod.
Yo, do you know how good the speaker on the Galaxy S10 is? Like, it's good. And then with the elevator reverberating, boom to the, or go techno, boom to the boom to the boom. This is probably really inappropriate for this review. Back to this track. Then Kanye does his oh, and then there's this work thing that's like flowing in, like the actual path to this redemption using this gospel is work. And then the song ends, and I gave it a 4.5 on 5, mostly because Kenny G, to me, did not add to value. It was more like, it was like, oh, that happened. It was neutral. And the rest of the song is actually my favorite track on this project, and I think it's really incredible and really well put together. And then, so it's amazing, and then there's Kenny G.
I think it was a really great song. I enjoyed the Pusher feature. I enjoyed the No Malice feature.
So you like Clipse?
I do like Clipse, and I've never actually knew that they were a thing together. But it's just, it was so different than the rest of the album. The song itself just had this, and I think it's because it wasn't all like Kanye. It was just another type of vibe that was brought to it. So I did enjoy it. I don't actually have much to say because, well, it was very in-depth.
Chris literally said, go first and talk, so that you know that I wasn't just trying to dominate that. And that's okay. I sold Chris out, and Jesus is Lord. Like, I suppose this works as a little outro thing on this album. It's super freaking short. Kanye's just kind of singing over some triumphant sounding music. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess, which is kind of referring to Philippians 2, chapter 2, 10, 11. That at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow of things in heaven, things in earth, and things under the sun, and every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord to the glory of the Father. To the glory of God the Father. And therefore he quoted some Bible, kind of brought it down to every knee shall bow, every tongue confess, which is often done in gospel music, or at least what I've heard from churches and such. And then Jesus is Lord, and then it's just done. And you're kind of like, was this necessary? I guess it works. It fits kind of as a little 40-something second outro thing. But I didn't really like it much, and I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 4. I think it does a nice job at like kind of full circling the album, just kind of starting on that like note and ending on it. But meh, it's not really like an outstanding thing.
Like, it just kind of, I feel like it would have actually, I mean, thematically, I guess it makes the most sense at the end of the project, but like, I don't know, it should have just ended on the last track and maybe put this in the middle or something, or I don't know what I would have wanted with it. I just don't know that this ending left me feeling like the album was done. It feels like there's still a couple more songs that need to come before we like wrap up. Anyway, on that note, as we wrap up this review, I gave the album a 4.368. I guess my main feelings are it's really well made for what we got of it. It's an interesting foray into a different side of Kanye West. There are 0 swear words on the album, which is incredible, honestly, that he would clean it up and really go that far with it. I don't think he really failed in terms of his goal of putting himself out as a guy going through like a reformation of finding God and going through the actual redemption process in a public way. In fact, I think the world just needs more people that are willing to do that. It's something I'm trying to do with my life as well. Like, I used to be a shit and now I'm less of a shit, and so I hope to be less and less of a shit in the future. And so it's really kind of cool to see Kanye almost invoke that through his project and really kind of push that narrative. And sonically, I mean, gospel's not my cup of tea in general, but I think he had a really cool hybrid hip-hop gospel thing going on. I think Kenny G being there was it's just a talkable moment. Kenny G's. Anyway, like, I think the hate that I've seen people say is unjustified. I think the album is better than the way people are describing it from what I've seen. But I also kind of understand the unfinished feelings, because it does leave me going, like, this doesn't feel like a full album. It feels like we need a couple more songs, but Kanye also seems to be really into this punkish approach to doing what the fuck he wants, so who am I to judge Kanye?
I gave the album a 4.16. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed the experience of it. This isn't something I'm going back to as like a first choice listen or throwing this on at a party, but I do appreciate what Kanye did. I do appreciate him taking a completely different avenue than what I've heard him do before. I appreciate him, cleaning it up and being very just positive. And if he really is changing and he really is, just trying to be a whole new person, I respect it. I support it. Good on you for doing what you think is right, man. 4.1 on 6 for this album.
Alright, well, that's the end of what we have to say about this project, so thank you for watching. It's totally dope that you'd stick around through our review of Kanye West, Jesus is King. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on this album, on his stupid ass delaying the project tactic, just anything that you want to comment on. Do you like Chick-fil-A? Did you like that "You're my Chick-fil-A" line? Let us know what you think, and I'll definitely answer you.
I found this on the web.
I can't stand this Google thing. This Google thing just keeps okay Google, stop. And I don't know why it's so bad today. Thank you, Google. And
she just wants attention.
She just does. So let us know what you think. I want your attention too. So hit the subscribe button. That would be real nice. Hit the like button too, and we can chat in the comments. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Pato, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Lindell Williams, and Coney Sparks. They're super dope. They help us out a lot. They helped us get a new camera, helped us get on Spotify and Podbeam and all that stuff. Podcasting places. Whew, makes sense for a podcast, right? We're gonna get a website. I'm gonna start building Holden out next week due to these people's fine efforts. And so they've done a lot for us. And in exchange, they get to tell us what albums to review. So actually this weekend, we're going to be recording a Lindale Williams request. So watch out for that early next week, and thank y'all for being here with us. We make the music ourselves, so my album came out. It's called The Alternative Grind by Holden and Stephan Roy. You can check that out on the internet, no matter what platform you like, even SoundCloud, because some people still like that. So let me know what you think. I'm also on Spotify, so it's not like I'm a SoundCloud dude. It's just people actually care if you're there. Anyway, he's on it. Chris, he's a good guy too. Let us know what you think. Looking forward to hearing from you. And, as always, live long and prosper.
Goodbye.